piranhas and blood and boobs, and that's all that this movie is. I finally found a Piranha movie that's worth watching, because I had watched and done a review of a movie called Piranha, which I found on my Croczilla collection. I reviewed that movie as part of a triple feature, just to get it out of the way. Had nothing to do with piranhas at all. This one was released in 2010 under the title Piranha 3D. Now, of course, I don't have a 3D Blu-ray player, and I didn't get to watch this in 3D, so it's just called Piranha. Stars Elizabeth Shue, as well as Vin Rhames. Richard Dreyfuss makes a cameo in here, as well as Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown himself, Adam Scott, Ben from Parks and Rec, and then you get the fat kid from Stand By Me. You get Jerry O'Connell, who is, hasn't been the fat kid ever since that movie. Pretty big names in here, and it makes for an actually very entertaining movie to watch. I had severely underestimated how good this movie was going into it. I thought, well, it's going to be one of those, and not quite as ridiculous as something like Sharknado, but it's getting there. Yeah, so what's it about? Well, there's some kind of seismic activity near Lake Victoria, which is like a touristy spot in the American Southwest, actually modeled after Lake Havasu in Arizona. There's some seismic activity out there. Some ancient, deadly killer piranhas are released from the depths, and they terrorize the lake, and they basically eat people. They've been living for millions of years, and now they're suddenly released, and guess what? Super piranhas. Well, it happens to be like spring break in this little touristy town, and Elizabeth Shue is the sheriff, and just run off her feet trying to stop all these people hurting themselves, partying, and just doing really stupid things, and keeping the crazy college crowd under control. Her son gets mixed up with Jerry O'Connell, who's this porn film producer. Travel around in their boat and shooting Girls Gone Wild kind of stuff and softcore porn, and he gets caught up in all that, and he becomes their local guide. Yeah, and he's got a girl that he likes that gets, caught up in this as well. And the sheriff's son, meanwhile, is supposed to be babysitting his younger siblings, his brother and sister. And they get into some trouble, and meanwhile, mom's off fighting off partygoers. Teenage son is aboard a boat with a bunch of porn stars and stuff, and the kids are out paddling around in the lake on a canoe when there's crazy killer piranhas everywhere. We get a few piranha kills earlier in the movie. I tried to keep a kill count here, and I don't know, I got to 5, and the 5th one was the very first kill of this mass attack scene. All the partygoers are all gathered together, and there's a floating stage, and it's got girls taking their clothes off and stuff. It's a spring break, and everybody's drunk, and all woo, a bunch of drunken douchebags, and people on jet skis and boats, and even just inner tubes and stuff, and they're all hanging out in the harbor or beach area, whatever. And suddenly piranhas attack. There goes my kill count. I think number 5 was the first of those, and then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, there's another one, and then there's another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and then there's 5 on screen at once, and it's insane. Basically, they used gallons and gallons and gallons. I don't know the exact figure. I know it's written down somewhere, and I'll find out. But anyway, tons of fake blood, tons of prosthetic body horror mutilation kind of stuff going on, and if that wasn't excessive enough, this movie has so many boobs in it. So much nudity in this, and exploitation, and the characters, the background characters, all the partygoers and stuff, are so obnoxious. You just want to see them all get slaughtered. Anyway, yeah, it's full of gore, full of boobs. Why wouldn't I like this movie? But I was going in thinking, okay, here's a movie that they're making one of those so bad it's good movies. Well, there isn't really that much that makes it bad. It's just so over the top and ridiculous that it's like completely unbelievable. The characters are dumb, and the plot is contrived and, plagiarized. They just didn't take it too seriously. It's all about the visual spectacle. Apparently, judging by all the models that they hired in here, and all the gore and all the CGI gore and the CGI fish and everything like that, it's all about the visual spectacle. A little bit of character banter here and there that's kind of amusing. Mostly on the part of Jerry O'Connell. I thought he was just crazy, and he was pretty funny in this. Jerry O'Connell's death is pretty epic. He gets most of his body all chewed away by piranhas, and they actually chew off his penis, which, is very important to him, I guess. But he's still alive for a little while anyway, and he's just mostly skeleton with just some gross blood and flesh hanging off it. Oh yeah, and they actually show his CGI penis floating in the water being devoured by piranhas. And wasn't expecting that. Another really good scene is the nude parasailer girl that they're pulling her behind the boat, but every once in a while she keeps dipping in the water, and then she dips down in the water one time, and when they pull her up out of the water, she's just like half a body, and she's all slumped over, and her legs are gone, and then there's also like a nude underwater ballet scene, with, for real, with classical music and stuff, and yeah, it's good. There's some cameos. Richard Dreyfuss is just some guy in a fishing boat. He's the first guy to get killed by piranhas in the very beginning of the movie. So he had, I guess Richard Dreyfuss shows up on the set for an afternoon, sit in a boat and pretend to fish. And here you go, Mr. Dreyfuss. Here's $80,000. Thanks for showing up. Christopher Lloyd has a similarly brief cameo, and he's the fish expert guy or whatever at I guess the aquarium, and they bring him some of the piranhas, and he kind of studies them, and he figures out that they're these ancient creatures and blah 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 blah. His portrayal is basically Doc Brown in this movie, and I swear to God he was this close to saying 1.21 gigawatts. Great Scott! Anyway, he's tops 5 minutes in this movie. Oh, and Vin Rames gets a good scene in there too. At the very end, he's trying to save all these people from the piranhas in the water, and he's local deputy working for Elizabeth Shue's sheriff. For some reason, he finds himself in very shallow water, a couple feet deep or whatever, and he's right next to a boat, and he's got all these piranhas are swarming around him, and so he rips the outboard motor off of this boat and fires it up and uses it as a weapon to obliterate all these piranhas coming at him, sweep at him and chop them all up, and his famous line is "Swarm this motherfucker." Pretty funny, and he dies a spectacular death, and all the piranhas swarm him and chew the crap out of him. Yeah, so I was kind of pleasantly surprised with Piranha. It was way more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. You wouldn't say it's a masterpiece, but it was pretty competently put together. The humor is pretty good in here. Some of it's a little over the top and cheesy. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give Piranha 2010 a B. Solid B. Solid B movie. Good cast, well put together, good music, good action in there, lots of gore, lots of boobs in there. I'm going to give it a B. B for boobs, I guess. So until next time, watch out for piranhas, and have a good one, everybody.